There is a t-shirt sitting in an M&S store right now made from the same cotton grade as a shirt in the window next door, costing £90. Same fibre, same thread quality, different swing tag, and the person walking between those two shops has no idea the thing they are paying extra for is not the fabric. It is the feeling of buying from somewhere that feels worth it. That is what the British fashion industry is actually selling. Not construction, not longevity, not the material touching your skin, a feeling. And once you understand that, you start to see 7 brands on this list completely differently. Every one of them has been sitting in plain sight. Every one of them has been underestimated for the same reason: where they are sold, or who their parent company is, or what kind of shopper is assumed to buy from them. None of those things have anything to do with what the garment actually is. Stay until number 1. Because it is the only brand on this list that does not just source fabric, it develops its own in a laboratory with engineers who also work on aircraft materials, and it sells the result for less than a restaurant meal. One rule before anything else: turn any garment inside out and find a seam. Count the stitches across 1 inch. 8 to 12 means it was built to last. 5 to 7 means it was built to sell. That check takes 15 seconds and tells you more than any price tag ever will. First at number 7, George at Asda. You're judging the shop, not the clothes. Think about the last time you walked through Asda. You probably passed the George section without even slowing down. Maybe you saw a t-shirt for £5 or a pair of jeans for £18 and thought, it's Asda, it can't be that good. But notice what just happened. You didn't touch the fabric, you didn't check the stitching, you didn't try it on. You made a decision about the quality before you ever examined the clothes. That's the strange thing about George. The biggest disadvantage might not be the clothes themselves. It might be the building they're sitting in. We've been trained to associate quality with price and environment. A £45 t-shirt in a fashionable high street store feels more valuable than a £5 t-shirt hanging under fluorescent lights in a supermarket. Put the exact same shirt in 2 different stores and most people would probably judge them differently. George is interesting because once you remove that perception, the picture changes. The brand has invested in things shoppers rarely think about when they see the George logo: responsible cotton sourcing, supply chain transparency, and independent testing of its clothing. It has even published information about facilities further down its supply chain, beyond the factories that actually assemble the clothes. None of that means every George item is secretly luxury fashion. It means something more uncomfortable. Price and prestige are not the same thing as quality. The person walking past George to spend £45 on a high street t-shirt isn't necessarily making a quality decision. They're making a social one. Because sometimes we don't buy the clothes that look best. We buy the clothes that make us feel like the kind of person who buys quality. And George exposes just how powerful that feeling can be. Before the next one, understand that this brand is one most British shoppers wrote off years ago and never went back to. That assumption is doing quiet, expensive work every time they pass it. Next up, at number 6, Next. This brand quietly builds for real people. There is a version of Next in most people's heads that was formed around 2007 and has never been updated. That version is costing them money. Next was founded in 1864. It is one of the oldest clothing businesses in the country and currently one of the most consistently profitable. That second fact is the detail nobody connects to clothing quality, but it matters. Financial pressure and construction quality are linked in ways the industry never announces. When a retailer is struggling, the first decision made in a boardroom isn't visible to the consumer. It is a fabric specification softened by half a thread count, a seam density reduced by 2 stitches per inch, a yarn blend switched to something cheaper that behaves identically on the rail for 6 months and then falls apart in the wash. You never see the meeting where that decision was made. You just notice the shirt looks tired before the year is out and wonder if you are washing it wrong. Next, consistent profitability means those decisions have not been forced onto its core range the way they have been forced onto struggling competitors. The brand committed to sourcing 100% of its cotton from responsible routes by 2025 through Better Cotton, certified organic, recycled, or fair trade certified cotton. It has also committed to sourcing only non-mulesed merino wool across its full range. A welfare standard premium brands have not all matched. Both commitments cost more. Both reflect a business not cutting corners at raw material level to protect short-term margin. Beyond sourcing, Next maintains extended size ranges many brands abandoned. Formal trousers available in 33 and 35-inch inside leg options cost more to produce. More pattern variations, more warehouse space, more fabric. The person buying from Next is not chasing a feeling. They are buying something built to still look like itself in 2 years. That is rarer on the British high street than the price tags suggest. Formal shirts from around £25, tailored trousers from around £35, at number 5 Dickies. This isn't fashion pretending to be workwear. Here is the situation that exposes the fashion workwear market entirely. Walk into a mid-range clothing shop and pick up a pair of workwear aesthetic chinos, £150, sometimes £200. Seam construction running 7 to 8 stitches per inch. No stain release finish, no triple needle reinforcement at the stress points, a permanent crease that will not survive 3 machine washes. Then walk to a Dickies stockist and pick up the 874. Around £35, 10 to 11 stitches per inch. Triple needle stitching at every stress point. A chemical stain release finish applied at factory level that resists oils, grease, paint, and food debris. A permanent center crease engineered to survive industrial laundering. The fashion trouser is a photograph of a building site. Dickies is the building site. The 874 launched in 1967 and has not been meaningfully redesigned since. That is not inertia. That is a product that solved its engineering problems so completely that no subsequent iteration has improved on it. The fabric is 8. Piarvo's heavyweight 65% polyester, 35% cotton twill, a blend chosen because polyester holds the structure while cotton provides breathability across a physical working shift. During the Second World War, the company produced 9 million military uniforms, temporarily halting civilian output to fulfill the government contract. That credential matters. A brand does not receive a 9 million unit military order unless procurement has confirmed the construction holds under conditions far harder than a daily commute. The 874 is what the company made when that order was complete and civilian production resumed. Separately, professional chefs, tradespeople, skateboarders, and street-style communities all arrived at the same product through different routes and decades. That convergence does not happen around a garment built to a low standard. The brand's slogan since the 1980s has been, "We're basic." That is not self-deprecation. It is a declaration about where the budget goes, into the stitch count, not the campaign. Available at dickies.eu, ASOS and Urban Industry, around £35. Before the next one, here is something I want to share directly. I have spent years standing in supermarket aisles and clothing stores, so you do not have to. The supermarket method is everything I have learned from hundreds of products, distilled into one simple guide you can use on every shopping trip. Scan the QR code on your screen, grab your copy, and let us get back to the rankings. At number 4, Charles Tierwitt. You're paying for the shirt, not the street it's on. Picture Jermyn Street, the shop fronts, the tailoring heritage, the shirts in the window at £100, £120, £150. The feeling that buying from there means something. Now consider this. The Egyptian and Supima cotton in those shirts travels through the same global supply chain as the Egyptian and Supima cotton in a Charles Tierwitt shirt that costs £25 on promotion. Same fibre classification, same premium long staple grade, same global sourcing infrastructure delivering both products to their respective sewing facilities. Nicholas Wheeler founded Charles Tierwitt on Jermyn Street itself in 1986, which most people do not know. He was not an outsider undercutting the establishment. He was standing on the same street, understanding the same product, and concluding that the price gap between what the heritage houses charged and what the construction actually cost could be turned into a direct-to-consumer proposition. He removed the wholesale distribution layer, kept the long staple cotton standard, kept the twin needle stitching through collar, cuffs and placket, and priced the result where someone buying 4 shirts for a new job could actually afford them. Egyptian cotton grows in specific soil conditions, producing a staple length and thread consistency the textile industry classifies as premium. Supima is the equivalent designation for other qualifying extra-long staple fibre. Both grades produce denser, smoother, more durable fabric than standard cotton because the longer individual threads interlock more tightly during weaving. Both grades appear in Jermyn Street shirts at £90 to £150 and in Charles Tierwitt shirts from £25 on their regular 4 for £100 promotion. What most shoppers also do not realise is that Charles Tyrwhitt maintains 4 distinct fit options: classic, slim, extra slim, and a modern fit introduced in 2025 for broader shoulder builds the existing cuts were not accommodating. 4 cut variations at a single mid-market price point is a pattern investment premium competitors rarely match. Most flagship shirts come in 2 fits. Charles Tyrwhitt offers 4. The person buying at the promotional price benefits from that investment as much as anyone paying 3 times the amount elsewhere. Available at charlestyrwhitt.com and selected stores. At number 3, COS. H&M owns it. That doesn't mean it's H&M. The usual dismissal of COS goes like this: owned by H&M Group, therefore expensive H&M. That response is exactly what the fashion industry has trained shoppers to do: connect ownership to quality, make an assumption, and move on. It's the same reflex that makes people walk past George at Asda without stopping, and it can cost them money. H&M Group built COS in 2007 for a specific reason. Its main brand could not credibly serve customers wanting genuinely considered minimalist clothing below the designer price threshold. To do that, COS had to operate differently. Heavier fabric weights, slower production cycles, and a greater priority on natural fibers across its core range, where the parent brand often defaults to synthetic blends. That difference is still visible in the garments if you know where to look. The certifications behind COS materials are also third-party verified rather than self-declared. Wool and cashmere carry Responsible Wool Standard and Good Cashmere Standard certifications, covering animal welfare and land management at farm level. Linen is certified European flax and produced using dew retting, a natural extraction process using sun, wind, and rain, rather than chemical softening. Most COS cotton runs through Better Cotton. These are audited standards, not simply marketing claims. COS outerwear uses wool blends containing 70 to 80% wool with proper lining construction, which helps explain why its coats and blazers consistently receive strong praise. A 2026 buyer review found construction, stitching density, and fabric weight regularly outperform expectations for the price. COS also publishes its supplier list and operates a resale platform for pre-loved garments, going further than many brands in this price bracket. Core t-shirts start around £25, knitwear from around £69, available at cos.com and COS stores across major British cities. 2 brands left. The next one has been inside every British town centre for over 140 years and is hiding, right now on its rail, a fabric treatment and a sourcing record that most competitors have spent years promising and never delivered. And the final one is the only brand here that engineered its own fabric from first principles before it made a single garment. At number 2, the Marks & Spencer Autograph range. Read the label before you read the logo. Here is a question worth sitting with. How many times have you walked through an M&S to reach the food hall and drifted past the clothing without stopping? Most British shoppers have done it hundreds of times. That drift is not a quality decision, it is a familiarity decision. M&S has been in every British town centre for over 140 years. Familiarity is the enemy of attention. And right now, on those rails you walk past, there is a garment construction story the brand has never been loud enough about to make you stop. The Autograph range uses a proprietary fabric treatment called Stay New, developed specifically to maintain colour integrity and structural shape across repeated wash cycles beyond what standard cotton construction achieves without intervention. This is not a marketing name applied to an industry standard finish. It is a manufacturing stage process that directly extends the functional lifespan of the garment. Most brands at this price point do not invest in post-construction treatment because the customer replacing a worn garment is a repeat sale. M&S invested in it anyway. Behind the fabric treatment sits a sourcing record that most competitors have still not matched. M&S achieved 100% responsible cotton sourcing for its full clothing range in 2019. Not a target, not a commitment for 2027. An achieved milestone 6 years ago, while brands still using that achievement as a future goal were writing press releases about it. The AW25 menswear range introduced selvage denim into the Autograph line, a construction method using a self-finishing edge on the fabric that prevents fraying without additional stitching and produces a cleaner, denser weave than standard denim. It received the brand's best ever menswear value perception scores from YouGov research published in September 2025. The YouGov result matters more than it sounds. Value perception is measured against what the shopper expected to receive relative to what they paid. A best ever score in that metric means shoppers are consistently getting more than they anticipated from a brand they thought they already understood. That gap between expectation and reality is precisely what this entire list is built around. An independent buyer who regularly handles the most expensive cotton fiber classifications available described the autograph hand feel as comparable to Sea Island cotton, which retails at roughly 5 times the equivalent price. That comparison was not solicited. It escaped someone when the fabric in their hands did not match what they had been prepared to feel for the price. That moment is what happens when a brand spends its budget on the garment, instead of on telling you how good the garment is. The rule is non-negotiable: autograph only, natural fibers only. The standard and collection sub-ranges vary significantly. Turn the label over before you turn the price tag over. Available at M&S stores and marksandSpencer.com. And finally, the one we teased at the very start, number 1, Uniqlo. They didn't just make the clothes, they engineered the fabric. Every brand on this list found a smarter commercial route to clothing that already existed. This one sat down with materials scientists and built the raw material from scratch before it considered what the garment would look like. Toray Industries has been Uniqlo's dedicated technology partner since 2003. Toray is a Japanese materials science company whose research portfolio spans synthetic organochemistry, industrial fiber engineering, and carbon fiber technology capable of reducing aircraft structural weight by more than 50%. These are not clothing designers. They are engineers whose work sits at the intersection of physics and manufacturing. Since 2003, they have been applying that same engineering discipline to what the person sitting across from you on the tube is wearing. Heat tech uses a hollow fiber structure that traps warm air without adding bulk, a principle adapted from the physics of down insulation and applied to a synthetic fiber producible at commercial scale. The engineering produces a base layer thinner than a standard cotton t-shirt that retains warmth cotton cannot match. The original Heat Tech provides everyday insulation. Heat Tech Extra Warm delivers 1.5 times the warmth for genuinely cold conditions. Heat Tech Ultra Warm provides more than double the original for extreme temperatures. 3 performance tiers built from a single Toray-developed engineering principle. AIRism, the second major technology from this partnership, uses ultra-thin polyester fibers 12 times smaller in diameter than a single human hair. At that fiber diameter, moisture cannot accumulate against the skin the way it does with conventional cotton because the individual thread surface area is too small to hold it. The fabric moves moisture away before it registers as discomfort. That behavior is a physics outcome, not a coating applied over standard fabric. Both technologies are produced by Toray exclusively for Uniqlo. No other retailer on any British high street can source or license them. When you pick up a Heat Tech or AIRism product, you are holding a garment that genuinely does not exist under any other label at any price. For denim, Uniqlo partners with Kaihara Corporation, one of the most respected mills in Japan, whose selvage fabric supplies heritage brands charging £200 and above for finished jeans. Uniqlo's selvage denim uses fabric from those same looms at around £50. The thread origin is identical. The price difference is the story wrapped around the heritage brand, none of which changes the thread. Uniqlo's Reuniqlo program accepts worn garments in-store regardless of condition. Collected items are donated to displaced communities globally or repurposed into industrial materials, including sound insulation and ground cover for disaster relief operations. By 2025, the program had processed over 50 million garments globally. A closed-loop textile collection infrastructure at that volume, operated by a brand selling t-shirts at £14.90, is extraordinary by any standard in British retail. Supima cotton t-shirts from £14.90, Heat Tech base layers from £14.90, ultralight down jackets that compress to palm size and weigh under 200 grams from £59.90. Available at Uniqlo.com and Uniqlo stores in London, Manchester, Birmingham, Glasgow and other major British cities. 7 brands. 7 different reasons the industry never wanted you to look closely. The stigma of the shop. the forgotten name, the military-grade stitch count hiding in a £35 trouser, the German street cotton available 4 streets away for a quarter of the price, the parent company everyone dismissed, the hidden fabric treatment in a store you walk through twice a week, and a textile engineering operation that built its own materials before it built anything else. Turn the garment over, read the fabric content, count the stitches. The labels were never designed to tell you the truth. Now you know where to look for it.